Hi everyone, welcome. Welcome to today's class, Getting Started with Healthy Part 3, Best Practices. We're going to go ahead and get started. Before we do that, just a quick reminder of what this class is all about. The goal of today's class is once you already have a general understanding of some of the basics in Healthy and have your overall setup taken care of, this class will be diving into best practices for your account and for scheduling appointments with clients. So we'll be focusing on 5 primary best practices to making the most of the Healthy platform. As a reminder, we do have parts 1 and 2 of Getting Started with Healthy. Part 1 is a setup overview, and part 2 is walking through some client engagement workflows and features within the Healthy platform. So if you haven't already joined those classes, I definitely recommend taking a look at those and joining those. But we'll go ahead and get started with part 3, making the most of Healthy. All right, so the first best practice we are going to walk through is optional, but we do commonly see this used by providers and organizations in order to generate interest in their services and offerings, and that is setting up a free discovery call or some sort of free initial consultation. I do note that the example we'll walk through is a free offering, but you certainly can set a price to this for the time spent with the client or prospective client. So you can, of course, do that if you choose to. But we're going to walk through just setting up a free discovery call example. So the first step, I'm starting on my calendar page because I want to navigate to my appointment types from my calendar here. So the first step is going to be adding the actual appointment type to my list of appointment types. I'm going to select the More button in the upper right-hand corner and go ahead and select appointment types. On this page, we'll see that I do already have a discovery call appointment type created, but if you don't already, you can of course click to add new type in the upper right-hand corner and go ahead and create your discovery call or free offering appointment type here. In this case, we'll just click into the edit view of my already created discovery call, just to call out a few different fields here that you'll want to consider when setting up this type of session. First is naming it. I have chose to add the word free to the title so that it kind of encourages clients to move forward with booking this time with me, but you do not have to note it there. The next field is asking you if you want to place a client into a client group when they book this type of appointment with you. In this case, you might choose to have a client group that is named something like Discovery Call, Prospective Clients. In this case, my client group is titled Leads. And so I am going to choose to place clients into my Leads client group when they book this type of call with me so that I can keep track of who has shown interest in my services. And maybe once they become an active client, then I move them into a new client group. Going to make sure that this is bookable by clients. The next section here, length and contact types, are important. In this case, I'm going to keep my discovery call offering nice and short, 15 minutes, and I'm also just going to offer it via phone call. So you might choose to do these over video or maybe an in-person discovery session, but in this case, I'm just going to leave it as phone call and call my client at the time of the appointment. And I'll go ahead and update that or save that. So now we have our discovery call appointment type created. In order to have clients or prospective clients sign up for this type of call, we can offer it a couple of different ways. First is that we can share the link directly to our calendar to this specific appointment type. So for example, I might have a button on my website on a sales page that talks all about the services I offer. And I have a button a few times throughout that page that says, book here to schedule your free discovery call with me. And I can add a booking link to that button. I can also add one to social media pages, emails, anything like that. So to access or to copy that link, I'm going to click on More in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to select Share and Embed. And I'll want to make sure that my link is filtered down here to the proper provider, of course, but also appointment type. So under appointment type, I'm going to make sure that I have discovery call selected. I'm going to select myself as the provider since I am in a multi-provider practice here. and I'll leave it as all locations since it'll just be a phone call anyways. And then I'm going to toggle to sharing link. You do have the option whenever sharing calendar links or package links to grab the embed code to embed the booking flow right onto your web page. But again, that sharing link gives you a little more flexibility in how you share it. You can share this in an email, you can share it in newsletter campaign, social media pages, anything like that. So I'll go ahead and copy this link, and now I'll be able to share this link wherever needed. And when clients click on that link, or prospective clients click on that link, they will be taken to book their phone call, discovery call with me. The other way that you can offer this is through a package. So if I go to billing and I select client packages, I can tie this session to a package here. And this is also where you would, if you want to charge upfront for these types of sessions, where you would set a price to that as well. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility there in terms of if this is free or a paid offering. All right, so I don't yet have a package created, so we will go ahead and create a package for this session. Go ahead and just enter some basic package information. I'm really going to highlight here that this is a free discovery call. Book your free call with me now. And then I can scan through the rest of these fields here. I can add an intro video if I would like to. That will be embedded right on the booking page. I can set my package visibility. This is referring to out of my active clients who can see this package as available to purchase within their account. In this case, I don't need my active clients to book a free discovery call with me, so I'll hide it from them. And then I have the option on the package as well to place clients into a specific client group if needed. So this is one other spot where I could set up that automation if I'm choosing to share this appointment type or session type through a package rather than a direct calendar link. I'll go ahead and click continue. I could certainly combine this session type, this discovery call, with another offering here. So if, let's say, I'm offering a program and as an upsell or to encourage clients to purchase this program, I'm going to offer a free initial session or kickoff session with me. I could certainly add both the call and a program to this, or any combination of these different items. But in this case, we're going to just add one of those discovery calls to this package. One setting that I do want to make sure is on is this require appointment booking during package purchase setting at the top of my page here. The reason I want this on is so that I can select this session as bookable. In that way, clients will be able to actually book the session while they are purchasing this package. And when I say purchase, of course, my example is going to be free. So really just while they are gaining access to this package. And I'll select continue to our last page here. So the pricing page is where on the package itself, you will identify if this is a free offering or a set price. So maybe I do want to charge, let's say $25 for a discovery call. I can certainly do that. But in this case, I'm going to leave it at $0, have this be a free offering, and create the package. All right, so now if I go ahead and search for my package here in my long list of packages, I can share this package similarly to how I shared the calendar link previously. So I can grab the code to embed it right on my website if I would like to, or I can toggle to sharing link and copy the link and share that directly. All right, so now that we have talked through our free discovery call setup, the next best practice that we are going to chat through is surrounding notifications. So both notifications for me or my provider team, but also some workflows and things to be aware of surrounding client notifications. So the first thing that I want to show is where you can toggle on or off many of the notifications that will go to you as a provider or as a team member. So from wherever I am in the Healthie portal, I'll always have my little gear icon in the upper right-hand corner where I can get into my settings. So I'll go ahead and select settings. I'm getting my banner to remind me to set up my bank account information so that I can process payments through Healthie, but I'll go ahead and dismiss that for now. All right, so once I'm into my settings, area here. Right below the account section where it takes me when I get started is the notifications section. Here there are tons of different notifications that I can choose to either turn on or off for myself and my account. So for example, if I want to make sure that I'm getting a notification when, I guess I have many of my notifications on, but when a new journal entry is added, I'll make sure to toggle that on. And maybe I no longer need to know when a program is completed. I can toggle that off, and I can adjust these notifications at any time for myself. There are a handful of SMS mobile push notifications as well, so keep that in mind. Those are available to be turned on or off. And those will auto-save when I update them. Now, clients also are able to toggle some of their notifications in their portal. But what we are going to take a look at are a couple of other items surrounding client notifications. First is where to see a notification history for a client. So I'm going to go ahead and click into a client profile here, see if we can find someone that already has received some notifications, and this person actually has a couple of new notifications, so there's a little red dot there to signify that. But anytime you click into a client's profile, they will always have this notifications history option below their name. So it's right here in the upper left-hand corner of their profile. I can click in here to see a history of their notifications. So I can see what has been delivered to them, what has been sent but perhaps not delivered, what has bounced. So in this case, this mock client has just a mock phone number, so any SMS reminders to them have bounced, they have not gone through. Then I can see a lot of successful email notifications that have gone to them, so on and so forth. So here you'll be able to reference, again, any notifications that have gone out to them. So if a client ever reaches out to you saying, I didn't get my appointment reminder email, can you see if it was delivered? Maybe I'll come in here, and if it was delivered, I'll want to double check that their email address is actually accurate in their profile to make sure it's going directly to their email. Or again, if something is bouncing, then maybe there's some inaccurate information for an invalid phone number or email address. So there's a pretty comprehensive view here, and we can of course filter this if needed by different types of notifications, those appointment notifications, or to see any bounced, delivered, sent notifications. Now, some of these email notifications going out to them are customizable to some extent. We're going to go ahead and take a look at where to add your custom copy and custom language to those email notifications. I'm again going to go to my settings through my gear icon here. And we are going to scroll down this time to the email templates section under features. So I'll go ahead and click into email templates. Here we will see a number of those email notifications that may potentially go out to clients. And each of them will have a question mark if you click into them. A little tooltip here outlining exactly when that type of notification would be going out to clients. But those titles can give you a pretty good idea of it as well. Client invites email, this would go out if I add a client to my client list manually and send them an invite email to join my Healthie platform or portal. Appointment confirmation and reminder emails. Of course, these will go out when an appointment is scheduled or there are reminders about those appointments. These confirmation and reminder emails are great as well because you can do a couple of additional things here. First, you can customize the added language based on the type of appointment. So if I want my initial consultation, self-pay appointment here to have certain copy in that email notification, I can set it just for the initial consultation session type. And you can see here where the custom language is added that I typed in. And we can also customize the subject line. So I could make this whatever I wanted to for this initial consult. And again, this will be appointment specific. There is a default template option, so you can set a default in case you add any appointment types that you maybe haven't gotten around to adding specific language for, but you'll see your long list here of different appointment types. And that'll be similar with the appointment reminder emails. embed appointment created. This will automatically be sent to any new clients when they book an appointment from your website. So if we have those appointments embedded into our website. Package purchase. This also can be similar to the appointment types, customized based on the package that they're purchasing. And then a couple last ones, program emails. These will be for modules within programs that are set as an email module type. We do have a deep dive class on programs specifically where we talk through in a bit more depth about these program emails and what I mean by an email module. So if that is of interest to you, setting up some automated dripped out emails via programs, I encourage you to join that deep dive into programs live class. And then lastly, reactivation emails, which would go out to any clients that have not been active in the app in a while for a certain amount of days and you're looking to reactivate. All right, so we have talked through our first 2 items out of the 5, which were creating the option for booking discovery calls. We talked through notification settings for both providers and clients. Now we are going to get into our 3rd item of the 5, which is talking through smart fields, which essentially help us map information from intake forms to charting notes. So I'm going to navigate to the forms page for this topic. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new form here. I'll just title it my ABC intake form so that I can get into the form builder or the edit view of an intake form. So as you may already know, when you come into the edit view of a form, you're able to customize this form however needed. So we can drag and drop questions from the left-hand side. We can edit these questions as needed. I can edit the response options if it's that sort of question format, and so on. There are also several question banks under the drop-down here in the upper left-hand corner of the edit view. So we can see different sort of categories of questions that are pre-built. For example, I might go to the agreement question bank in order to get the e-signature field. One question bank in particular that I want to talk through in how it's used and how these questions function is the client info question bank. So if I go ahead and select client info, we're going to see a list of fields here which are commonly used in regards to basic client information. And the unique thing about these client info questions are that these are what we refer to as smart fields. Smart fields in Healthie essentially take information that is put into them and map it to a couple of places. First is the field in the client's profile where that information lives. So for example, name, date of birth, and let's add the client address here. These are all fields within a client's profile where we could go into their profile and see, of course, what their name is, but also their date of birth, their address, and several other pieces of information here. So when I include these smart fields from the client info question bank in an intake form, and my client fills out that intake form, this is going to take the information that's entered into these smart fields and place it where that lives in the client's profile. The other nice thing it's going to do for me is that if I use these smart fields on any charting notes or charting templates, it's going to pull in that information to those questions. So if I need to reference their date of birth and address on a charting note, I don't have to open up a separate intake form or open up their profile and search that information down and re-enter it into my charting note. I can simply use the smart field so that it pre-fills. And if that information changes at any point, let's say their address changes, we can of course update that information on the form or in their profile. But again, it will pull from that field itself. So I have this intake form created. I may want to create now a charting note that is similar and uses these questions. And maybe I don't want to have to drag and drop these questions all over again to that charting note. One option I do have is to copy my form here. And this is going to create a second version of the form. I could rename this to say, now this is going to be my ABC charting note, and I can convert this to a charting form. So now I have my intake form I just created, and I also have my charting note here. Of course, I can now edit this charting note, this second version of the form, without affecting that first version. So maybe I don't need those questions or that e-signature anymore. I just want to go ahead and create these keep these smart fields that I added in this form. I can edit this however needed without affecting that original form that I created. Another way to map information from an intake form to a charting form is to use copied fields. So let's say there is a question or a piece of information that I'm asking for during my intake process in those intake forms that is not on the client info question bank. And so it's not necessarily a smart field. I can create what's called a copied field. So I would go ahead and create my custom question. Let's go back to our default questions here. And I am going to select the short open answer, and I will enter some custom question here. Tell me about we'll just keep it general, your health history. And now I don't want to have to copy and paste what they submit in their intake form onto a charting note. If I need this information on a charting note, I want to map what they enter to my charting note. So I'll go ahead and save this question, and I'm going to click on copy on this question. We'll now see, if we go to this copied question bank, that if we scroll, we'll come across the question of, tell me about your health history. So let's scroll here all the way at the bottom, tell me about your health history. And this little question mark next to that is going to indicate that this is a copied field, and it's going to tell me which form this information is going to copy from. And so I actually created this on my charting note. I should have created this on my intake form so that I can then map it to my charting note. So let's actually go ahead and do that. We're going to delete that copied field. It's a great example of how to fix any mistakes that you might make when you're building out your forms. All right, so let's go back to our intake form here that we originally created. And now let's add that copied question here. So again, I'm building out my own custom question. I'm going to copy it. Now in the copied question fields, the question bank, I have my tell me about your health history. Now it's showing here that it's mapping or copying from the ABC intake form, which is perfect. So now I can go back into my charting note and find that question under copied, and I can drag and drop that question field. So now when I use this note and I open it up for any clients that have filled out that ABC intake form, it will fill in with the information that they provided on their intake form. So a couple of different options here between smart fields and copied fields. They're both able to be used to map information or copy information from an intake form to a charting form. But the kind of biggest difference there is that those smart fields are already built out for you, and they also live somewhere within the client's profile, whereas copied fields are custom pieces of information. Keep in mind that once you've created these and built them out, or really client info or smart fields in general, you likely won't want to rename those questions because that may kind of cause some confusion in how that information is mapping. For example, if I use that client info name smart field because I see a question format that looks like it would be for a name, and I say, oh, perfect, I'm going to use that, and I actually want to ask for their physician's name or whoever's name or emergency contact name, you're going to get a little warning here because it is giving you a heads up that if you change this question name or title, it's still going to map the information to, in this case, the client's name. And so that can cause some confusion as to what information you're seeing where. So once you create those, just be careful about how you change any names or titles, or with those copied fields, if you have to update the information, just make sure that you update that new field anywhere else that you're using it. All right. So the next best practice that we are going to talk through is the general idea of setting expectations with your clients. So there are a couple ways to set expectations with your clients in terms of any of your practice policies or expectations in terms of what you offer and support through your care. So we are going to start with just noting expectation settings in regards to adding these to your intake process for clients. So the first option and commonly used option is to create forms, including any policy forms or agreements, or this can be included with consent forms, intake forms, that really set those expectations in terms of what your care looks like and what you provide via your care, so that clients are not confused about what may be included or not included. So likely you'll want to create some sort of agreement via forms that clients can sign and agree to during the intake process before actually meeting with you and starting their care or starting a program. So for example, I have a cancellation policy here, and this is going to set the expectations of what my cancellation policy is with clients. And I can include this in an intake flow and make sure that they sign this form and this agreement when they're getting started with me. But similar policies, maybe just your general practice policies, any agreements and outlines surrounding what sorts of features you engage in terms of Healthie functionality. So for example, clients have the option, if you leave it on for them, I'm just navigating to client settings here. Clients have the option to do several things through their client portal. So they can journal on food, water intake, they can journal on metrics. There's of course the chat feature as well. So if you choose to utilize that, clients would be able to directly message you through Healthie. So there's different things that they can do throughout the platform. And it can be really helpful and important for you to lay out how you will, or to what extent you'll support those different types of services in terms of your offerings and how much you'll engage with them. So the first recommendation here is adding those sorts of agreements and outlines to the intake flow so that your clients are aware of it from the get-go. The other item that we like to call out is surrounding the chat feature. You have the option to set an autoresponder for the chat feature. And this can be really helpful for setting expectations surrounding when you will get back to clients, to what extent you use and support chat within Healthie with clients, and things like that. So if I go to my settings, there is a page here called chat. And we have a couple of different options, or really a few if we click into edit these, in terms of setting autoresponders or autoresponses out to our clients if they do ever message us. Keep in mind you have the option to just toggle off chat messaging in the journal entries settings, or you can do this on a group or client level as well. So I can toggle off a lot of things for the client portal and kind of outline this is what I want them to be able to do or not do. But in terms of the chat, we will go ahead and click back. And chat is one of those features that you can toggle on or off on that page. We'll go back and let's say we do want to support our clients in reaching out to us via the chat functionality, but we're only going to respond during a certain time of day, or we want them to, instead of chat messaging us, reach out via email, something like that. So we could go ahead and turn on any of these autoresponders. First is the option to turn on a welcome message. So when they first get started with you and that chat is created, you can send them a message right off the bat automatically. Maybe it's saying, excited to start working with you. Keep in mind that you have the option to message me here, but I will only be responding and fielding chat messages during the hours of this time to this time. In case of an emergency, reach out here. Or we want them to be directed to a support email address instead. We could have a welcome message telling them that if they have any questions or concerns, they can actually email us at whatever it is. So we can set that welcome message, but we can also set an autoresponder for any time. So we can have one that's always on, and anytime a client messages us, we will respond automatically with those expectations around how we use and support chat. And we can also have recurring autoresponders. Let's say on a certain day of the week, I may not be in the office on Fridays and Tuesdays. So I'm going to go ahead and send an auto response on those days if a client messages me to say, I am not in office these days. I will respond to you tomorrow. So again, just some awareness around expectation setting so that there isn't confusion between your clients and you in terms of how you will be supporting them in Healthie. All right, everyone, we are going to keep moving into our last best practice that we are going to chat through today, our fifth and final item, which is utilizing reports. So I'm going to navigate to the reports page on my left-hand menu. I like to call out the reporting area because this is one of those areas of Healthie that you might not inherently use in your day-to-day or when you are initially setting up your workflows because you'll be so focused on making sure that your calendar is set up and your website is updated with booking links and programs are being created and items like that. Your reporting section, however, can give you really great insight into the activity that's taking place in your business and in your organization. So on this page, there are several different reports that you can explore and download at any time. The appointments report does have a nice little dashboard here, so you can get some quick insight into your appointment activity without downloading any CSV file. We can filter, turn on different filters here to look at specific providers, appointment types, status information, of course, time ranges. But we do have the option to download that CSV file. So if I click into different reporting pages here, we'll see that option to either download a report or we'll have a nice little dashboard here. And we can take a look at several different areas of our business. So of course, the first one I mentioned was the appointments report. This will give you a lot of different information around appointment activity and bookings. Maybe you're going to pull this on a monthly basis to see what your most popular appointment types or services were. We have billing reports, so everything from a payments report, credits, invoice history, bank transfers, client reporting. We can pull something as straightforward as a client list, which will come with tons of different fields from their profile and information, data points on those clients, to client activity or client metrics. There's a client sources report here actually as well that has a nice little dashboard just to show you if you are using the client sources functionality, where your clients are coming from. Some insurance reporting as well, data on authorization, CMS 1500 forms, and of course, super bills. And lastly, we have program reports. This report will give you a CSV file for each of your online programs that you're offering, which you can find your programs page in the left-hand menu here. And that will give you a status update and more detailed information on each of your clients that are enrolled in moving through your programs. When we pull any of these reports via that download report option, it's going to generate that report in our documents library. So I can follow this link here under generated reports, or I can also just click into my documents at any time, and there will be a folder in my documents titled generated reports. And here I can find all the reports that I've ever pulled. In this case, I just pulled a client activity report, and so I can click right on it here to download that CSV file. Or I can click all the way to the right to find some different actions on that file, including to download it. You will want to open this CSV file in some sort of app such as Excel, Google Sheets, and from there you can really customize the report and navigate it to your specific needs. So the report will provide you with a lot of different data points around that topic, but you can customize it from there once you add it to one of those platforms as needed. All right. We are going to go ahead and wrap up our class there. As a summary, we talked through 5 best practices in Healthie. So we started with setting up discovery calls and scheduling those on our calendars. We discussed customizing the notifications that we are receiving as providers and team members, as well as the notifications that our clients are receiving. We went through how to connect information from intake forms to charting templates with smart fields as well as copied fields. So we're mapping and copying the information that comes from an intake form with a client to a charting note that we are opening for that client. We, of course, talked through how to set expectations with your clients and the importance of that expectation setting. And we wrapped up with discussing the reporting section of Healthie and how you can utilize that to really optimize the success of your business. As always, if any questions come up on any of these topics, we have all of our help resources, starting with the Help Center. Under that little question mark in your portal, no matter where you are, you'll see that question mark. You can click into Help Center and you'll be able to see a wide range of help guides, and it's relatively searchable too. So if you want to search any specific topic that we discussed today, like smart fields or client list report, you can search it in that Help Center and find more information on that. But you can, of course, reach out to our support team at any time as well at hello@gethealthy.com, and we would be more than happy to help. So thank you everyone for joining today. We look forward to seeing you on future live classes. Thanks all. Bye-bye.